Good day, everybody. Peace, love, and harmony to you all. I am Peacekeeper, and I'm here to deliver yet another powerful, inspirational, motivational, high vibrational message to you guys today. Today's message will rock your world. So please stay tuned until the end of this message because today's message will benefit you in so much ways. You would definitely be interested in this message. No doubt. I guarantee you. Yes, I guarantee. So before I dive deeply into today's message, I just love to start off my videos with gratitude. Being grateful. So for those of you now coming in, for those of you here on this live with me, for those of you who are new to who I am, I would like to share a little bit with you guys on who I am and what it is that I am here to do. So I'll be sharing with you now. My main goal is to help you reconnect to you. My main goal is to help you connect to the divine. The divine that is not external from you, but within you. My main goal is to help you to heal throughout your past traumas, help you to heal and become your best version. This being said, I am not the one that is going to fix you, but I am only here to guide you. So in other words, I can only share with you my experiences. I can only share with you what has helped me. But you are the one who needs to deem this information that I'm sharing with you valuable to you, and therefore you are the one who would need to apply it. Hi, welcome. My motto is trust you and believe in you. So for the title, hi, welcome. So for the title, I share that the mind replays what it is that the heart wants to heal. The reason why the mind continuously replays what it is that your heart wants to heal is because it's something that you may have left undealt with, undone. Meaning it was a realm that you was once not willing to dive deep into. And the reason why this continuously keeps playing over and over and over and over in your mind is because something within thyself is calling you to reflect. So for me, right, I had a very major shake-up yesterday. This shake-up was pertaining to do with something from my past life. And in this shake-up, it was basically while growing up, I was never able to speak my truth. I was never able to voice my opinion. I always believed that I need to put others' feelings in front of my own. So for family members, for friends, for interactions with, sexual relationships and all of these different things, I would have basically put them in front of everything else. I would have always put them, their happiness, in front of everything else. Once they are happy, I was happy. Once they were good, I was good. But feeling to realize that I was neglecting my own self, feeling to realize that I was neglecting the truth of who I am. So, in this being said, I was called to start to dive deeper into who it is that I am and why it is that I am doing this. Like, what is the main purpose? Just to make them feel good. But outside of that, I was not doing what it is that genuinely makes me feel good. So it was just a matter of agreeing with everything that someone else says. It was just a matter of agreeing with what everyone else wanted. But within my mind kept replaying over and over and over these scenarios and these situations in a way that when it was replaying, I was avoiding the thoughts. I was trying not to think those thoughts. I was trying to get rid of those thoughts. I was trying to not think that way. Not think that I am not being, fulfilled. And in getting rid or trying to get rid of any of those thoughts, it kept lingering. It kept being there because I was not reflecting on it. I was refusing to reflect on it. I was refusing to acknowledge it. So, in this realization, I began to understand that when something is playing on your mind, it is something that needs to be there for you to understand what it is trying to show you. Example, right? Let's say you are a person who likes roller skating. You genuinely love roller skating. That makes you feel happy, that makes you feel good. You just love skating because it's your way of having fun, right? And your partner or your friends and your parents or whatever it is, they don't want to roller skate. So you on the other hand now may suppress yourself and be like, all right, since they don't want to roller skate, then I should put aside what it is that I know I want to do so that they can feel good, so that they can get what they want and just disregard your own self in limits. Just disregard what it is that you want in limits. Feeling to voice why you would want to, roller skate and do these things. Most of us tend to not say anything and just be like, all right, since they don't want to do it, all right, I don't want to do it. And that's a form of disregarding yourself. That's a form of betraying yourself. You're doing something that you didn't want to do, but you still do it because other people want you to do it. Other people just want to do that specific event. But what about you in the midst? What about how you feel? What about what it is that you genuinely want to do? So I had a major issue with this in terms of I kept disregarding what it is that I wanted to do. I kept putting aside what it is that I would have wanted to do, what I would have preferred to do for others. And in my mind, it just didn't sit right. It didn't sit well. And I'm saying within my mind, but within how I felt, it didn't sit right. It didn't feel like, it was what I genuinely wanted to do. But I still did it. And in saying this, there are times we can compromise. There are times that we won't get what it is that we want to do and we compromise and we allow, based on the flow of others. But the truth is, I realized that I was out of balance. I realized that my life revolves around others' desires, others' wants, and completely disregarded my own. Completely. So, in realizing that I needed to start creating more balance in my life, this was the most toughest challenge for me. And it's still tough. it's still challenging because now it required me to speak up for myself. Example on this life, it requires me to speak my truth. And that, my friends, requires a lot of self vulnerability, being open to speak your truth and being open to share what it is that you would prefer aside from also just going with the flow. So I was basically that type of guy, just go with the flow because I like flow. I don't like conflict. I don't like arguments, and I don't believe anybody likes arguments. I don't believe anybody likes conflict. So, in this being said, this is why I did my best to avoid conflict and just basically allow them to get the flow and just roll with the flow. Just allow the boat to flow where they choose to go. But I realized that why not rock the cradle a little bit? Why not disagree? Why do you need to agree all the time just for flow? you know? And that is one of the most major key factors that I then realized it's not to go with the flow with everything. Example, picture your life in a cradle. As a cradle, you are that, no, you, scrap that. Picture life as a cradle. The baby in the cradle are the outside entities. The baby in the cradle can be your friends, your family, your loved ones. The baby in the cradle is them. And the cradle is basically your relationship. Outside of the cradle is you. Right? You have the choice to allow the cradle to just stay still. This is avoiding of the conflicts. Example, you don't want to wake the baby because the baby may cry. The baby may get angry. The baby may get aggravated. And you don't want the noise. So, on the outside of the cradle, you choose not to rock the cradle. So, I use this analogy to share with you guys. This is what we do in terms of when dealing with a lot of relationships, when dealing with a lot of people. So, the baby is comfortable, the baby is calm, the baby is happy, sleeping, lulling off, and within yourself, let's say that this baby, this individual, is in your way in some way, form, or fashion. Let's say the cradle is directly in front of the doorway. You need to go somewhere, you need to get somewhere. But because the baby is comfortable, because the baby is, in that state, you disregard what it is you need to do instead of waking the baby and moving the baby or asking the baby to move. I use this analogy to share on a deeper spectrum, deeper layer, that sometimes you need to wake that baby. Sometimes you need to rock the cradle. Because that's the only way the cradle will move if you move it. So I'm sharing this at this standpoint with you guys to share this. I believe in flow. I do. I love flow. I agree to flow. But I also agree to a healthy balance of flow and force. Example. If I was to break down a building, the building is not going to break down itself. No. I need to pick up the hammer. That sledgehammer. And break it down myself. And that requires force. Because I am removing something, I am getting rid of a structure, getting rid of something to then build something new. So I'm saying this. Hi. Welcome. Tap the like button, share this. And I know you have said hi a numerous amount of times, but I was just, explaining about some very deep stuff. So I wanted to just clear that out before, I responded to the comments. So welcome. Nice to meet you. Thank you for being here. I am grateful for you being here. Hope you are enjoying the live thus far. I also hope that you are learning thus far. Any question that you have, feel free to ask. I am here to explain and answer to the best of my ability. And keep this in mind. I don't know every single thing, but I can share with you what it is I do know. If I don't know something, I will tell you that I don't know the answer to your question. And therefore, this is the authenticity that I give. This is where I stand. And this is my way of sharing with you guys also what it is that I have to share right now with you. Keep in mind that it's my way of life, it's my lifestyle. You don't have to do anything that I say to you. I am just sharing with you in hopes that it can help you, it can help guide you through something that you may be dealing with in your life. So feel free to ask any questions and I am open to sharing. Right? So I'll continue the story of a little bit of force in terms of taking up that hammer to get rid of that structure, to get rid of that building and build something new. And that's where the force comes into play sometimes for certain things. So it's about creating that healthy balance. It's about creating that balance where you have the right and the left hemisphere. So picture the right hemisphere, your right hand as the force, and picture the left hemisphere, the left side, as the laid back. Balance. Both sides essential for your life. Both sides. No right or wrong necessarily. One is just laid back and one is just force. So not every single time that you would apply force to something, and not every single time you would just lay back and accept everything. No. But I'm differentiating here the key factor in terms of creating that balance also between force. In terms of speaking up here sometimes can come across at times as forceful to others. And sometimes that is required for you to speak your truth. And then other times, there are times to just be laid back and leave them be with whatever it is they choose to be. But if it is an individual that basically you are interacting with on a daily, that you are building with on a daily, this is where the communication is key. So sometimes you kind of need to demand a communication or pull away. So for example, I had a situation. Do you know how can I get better at sport as a student? Sport. Um, well, for me and sports, it comes to basically consistency in terms of practicing whatever sport it is that you wish to develop. So, for example, for you to get good at a certain sport, you need to build your confidence in that sport. And in building the confidence in that sport, whether it be boxing, whether it be running, whether it be any type of physical activity, you need to develop the consistency in training for that specific sport. And therefore, as you enhance your abilities, you gain more confidence within it and you also get better at the sport. Hope that answers your question. And as I was saying though, in terms of the relationship aspect, in building relationships, sometimes you could also look at relationships as a sport, but it's not a physical sport, more of a mental sport. And that mental sport requires all aspects. It requires, no problem, that mental sport requires training, getting to know the sport, getting to know the person that you are in that relationship with. Meaning, sometimes we think we know someone, but we don't really know them. Example, a lot of people in my life has shown me a lot of good sides of them. They have shown me a lot of nice sides of themselves. They have done a lot of good things for me and to me. But they failed to also show me the negative sides of themselves. Because a lot of people think that they need to be perfect. Why? Because they think that they need to be liked by everyone. Why? Because they think that if society doesn't accept them, then they don't feel good within themselves. So this is why a lot of people tend to create that image of perfection. So for example, right? I have a friend and she's a very kind person, very kind-hearted, very loving, a very good human being. But some of the things that she lack that I have witnessed is the ability to vent, is the ability to just be a being, to just be a human. What do I mean by this? She's dealing with some, you know, turmoils within herself and thinks that she's not, it's not okay to feel that way. Because if she opens up, if she's vulnerable, she's afraid of if someone will judge her for it. So she creates this image of perfection and continuously keep bottling up her emotions and never gets that flow, that ebon, that natural flow of allowing the emotion to be felt, to be. Because inventing the way society sees us, if we cry, it's deemed as a weakness. So if anybody sees her cry, she'll feel like she's doing something wrong. So this is where the vulnerability aspect of life is closed off, shut off. And now whatever it is that that comes with that freedom of releasing, it now is not able to come out because of the holding back, because of the fact of I need to keep it up. I need to keep up this perfect image. I need to keep this up because that's what she thinks society is looking for. And in that being said, doing so creates an imbalance within that being, within her. So now, when it is that at times the vulnerability can actually help this individual heal and vent and release and be a being, a human being, she doesn't get the experience of that. And this is the healthy balance also, again, of the force and the flow. This is the healthy balance. So sometimes, in certain situations, you can't hold back. You can. Certain situations, it's not meant to flow with the emotion. But not every single time is to hold back. Because the more you hold back for every single thing, what happens here, it overlaps, and it overlaps, and it overlaps, and it overlaps, and it overlaps, until the point that it can no longer overlap. And when it reaches to that point, this is where most people lose total control. Because from all the force that they have been using to stay, they are now forced by bottling up those emotions that much to let it go. So oftentimes it may come across like a stream that has been dammed up for quite a while, and as that stream filled up with water, it just flowed uncontrollably. Whereas the healthy balance of knowing when to hold back and when to flow. There's a time to flow and there's a time to hold back. And you see, when you are flowing, you are letting go, you are releasing. That's the flow. But not everyone is to flow with. So this is where the healthy balance again comes into play, where some people will take, how to put this, will take advantage of that flow. So know who you can flow in that direction with, and know who you need to close off from. An even deeper example. Picture the right hemisphere, the right side, as your protection. And picture the left as your openness, your vulnerability. So the right is there to protect you from being hurt, to protect you from being moved, to protect you from being taken advantage of. And the left is where you can completely be in flow, because you know that it is a safe space, because you know that this is a place that whoever you are around, whatever situation that you are in, you are able to be there. And that requires being around individuals who are also on the left in that flow at that standpoint. But if it's a matter of you are in that flow, in that vulnerability, in that openness, and they on the other hand are in the protection, it's because they see you as a threat. So this is why they think that they need to stay in that protection state so that they can also be on top, so that they can be in the perfect state, aside from opening up to release with you. And this is where the true flow, the true connection on that side builds and grows. But yet again, it's like I said, time for force, time for flow. So let's even dive deeper into it some more. Sometimes others may come to vent to you. A lot of people come to vent to me and speak up and say certain things that, I need to be there to lend the listening ear. And I'm saying need, but it's not necessarily a need, but just simply choosing to be there because it's someone that I genuinely care for, right? So let's talk about the flow also and attaching, right? Let's talk about the attaching. So sometimes, right, an individual can be flowing and venting, releasing to you, and you are feeling good. You don't have anything to release really because you have constantly been releasing. You have already reached a certain level of wholeness within yourself. You have already structured your life in a certain way where you have that healthy balance of force and release. So you have gained a little bit of wisdom on how you deal with yourself, so it doesn't really topple over, and it's always a healthy balance, right? Sometimes we attach ourselves to what it is someone is going through, to the point where we embody that emotion because of the flow as our own. So sometimes we embody the way that they feel and take it on as our own. So we may not, or you may not have been feeling anyhow before, but through interacting with that conversation in that level of vulnerability, you now start to feel that way because you are being empathic. You are there with them. You are also now taking on their burden. You are also now taking on some of their load. Hope you all are with me still. As you are now taking on some of their load, you are now able to vent with them and help them through what it is that they are going through. But know that you will feel what it is that they are going through. So I'm saying this for you guys to share with you why I do what I do here. I don't flow with every single body. No. I flow with who I deem deserving of that type of energy from me, of who I deem worthy of that type of energy with me. Why? Because everybody deserves love. Every single body deserves love. I need to say this before I say what I'm about to say next. But not everybody deserves the type of love that you have to give. Because people deserve the love that they give. Why? You see, in terms of when it comes to love, when it comes to being in that deep connection with others, if you are just going about trying to help everybody, trying to heal everybody, trying to do right for everybody, trying to be good to everybody, my friend, good luck. The best of luck. I don't believe in limitations, but as for making an attempt to do that, I would say there are some limits to that. Because really, this is where the logical standpoint also comes into play. Logically, emotionally, on your behalf, what is that going to do to you? Think about that. Think about trying to bear the burden of every single human being, flowing with every single human being, going into that realm with every single human being, and being there with every single human being. Think about that. Especially when we have a lot of people out there that has a whole heap of things that they're dealing with. You see, no one being can help everybody. No. So making an attempt to try to help every single body is not the wise thing to do for your mental health. For you. Because your focus, all of your energy, all of your resources is just being put into helping every single body else. So this is where the healthy balance at times comes in saying no. Can't say yes to everything. No. Sometimes it's good to say no. And this is where speaking your truth comes into play. This is where being you comes into play. Not being the perfect image of what the masses or what anybody else expects of you. Because you also have that say, no, I am not going to do every single thing that someone else wants me to do. I'm not. Because at times, the force, the protection must be in play. That is for you to always have your energy at that state where you can actually help someone else. But if your energy, if your battery is on a download, how can you help someone else? So this is where the protection comes into play. If I am not at that energy level to deal with flowing with someone at that point of time, I would simply share that and voice that to them. Well, right now I don't have the energy for it. That's it. I don't have the energy to deal with that. Right now, currently. If they choose to respect that, it's on them. It's not on me. What they choose to do thereafter, I vented that and I shared that with them. Because I also have something to deal with on my side, on my ends. Hope you all understand thus far. Because this is how we create that healthy balance And this is how we continuously keep feeling so good to be alive. Because we are also taking the time to deal with ourselves. We are also taking the time to recharge ourselves. This is the balance. This is the flow. This is the way to actually flow. The balance of the force and the flow. Because you see, the force is just like this, Hey, it's just women together dancing. Just dancing. Like, think of the force as a colorful rainbow. Multi-dimensional, multi-layered, think of the force in that way. It's colorful. It's not one color. It's not one direction. It's not fixed. It's multicolored. So this is where there's a time for flow and there's a time for force. Sometimes you may need to get a divorce. Sometimes you may need to hold on. And this is why I say to you, know when you are being called to hold on and be there with someone, for someone, and know when you are being called to be there for you. Because the truth is, we are human beings. That's the truth. We can't be there though for everybody at the same time. No. Welcome. Let the divine guide you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Welcome. So if you are now joining in, I've reached very far in this live. I've said a lot so far, thus far. Bear in mind that this conversation is a open conversation. There's a lot of deep truths being shared here. So keep an open mind, and basically everything that I'm sharing with you right here, right now, is my lifestyle. It is what it is that I do. It is what that has helped me to be free. It is also what has helped me to gain clarity. So if you deem this information worthy of your time, then sit through and be here for the rest of this life. Tap that like button, by the way, also, and share this. Someone else out there may need to hear this. So let's continue this flow. Let's continue where I'm at. So you said, let the divine guide you. The divine. What is the divine? Most people use that word, the divine, and use that terminology and just basically speak about it. But quite frankly, talking about something and actually being with something or understanding something on that level, it's completely different. So I'm saying this to share with you guys this. Alright? Most people think the divine is nice. Think the divine is quiet all the time. Think the divine is just about that one fix. Peace, that's me. I do that at times. I do. But the truth is, a healthy balance between sometimes you can just be there in that state of just peace. But there are times you need to fight. You need to stand up for something. You need to stand up for yourself. But most people, a lot of people, because they think of the divine in a way of, well, I guess the divine is perfect. The divine is a being that basically is always quiet, silent. No. The divine also force. The divine does. The divine fights. The divine does. Nature fights back. Nature doesn't just be peace. Nature is not peaceful all the time. Sometimes nature may get a little shaky, baby. Sometimes, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. My mind ran on you 10 minutes ago, bro. Goodness to you too. Thank you for being here. I haven't seen you in a while though, but thank you for being here. You are appreciated, grateful, a lot of gratitude for you being here. And at this standpoint now of basically sharing some deep truths about the divine, what the divine is, the understanding of the divine, what a lot of people think the divine is, perceive the divine to be. And I hope this message, you gain something from it. I hope this message helps you deepen your insights in some way, form, or fashion. I hope this message also helps you to connect deeper to you, because that's the main goal here, to help you see through, the veils of always having to reach for something, and know that it's not a matter of reaching, but within you. And I'll just continue this flow here in terms of where I was with the divine. So, nature is not always just laid back and basically calm all the time. No. Nature sends storms at times. Nature destroys at times. Example, backtracks, destroy plants. Backtracks in destroying plants and taking apart the leaves from the plants. Does that make backtracks out of the divine order because they are destroying that plant? No. It's a flow. It's a give and a take. As they clip whatever they clip from the layers of that plant still springs a new lease of life. Another analogy. Nature is hot at times. Sometimes a fire can take away a lot of greenery, take away a lot of trees in the process, but in that process, nature within itself, the earth, is also developing, creating and gaining a new lease of life. New lease of life. So in nature, the perfect image that a lot of beings have pertaining to do with nature, it's backwards. Because nature is not perfect. But it's the perfect imperfections that works perfectly together. And in that perception of the divine, as nature is showing us that flow, but in us, as human beings, to become whole within ourselves, sometimes you need to fight. And when I say fight, I don't physically mean go out there and pick up a weapon and go to people and just fight people. That's not what I mean by that. So don't misinterpret what it is that I'm saying. If there's any question that needs to be asked, if there's any lack of understanding, just ask and I'll explain, but I'll explain now regardless. Fighting, physical fighting, is not going to someone to start a conflict or start a fight. No, it's not a matter of, guess what, I see what it is you're doing, and because I don't like what it is you're doing, and I deem what it is that I deem within myself to be the best or to be right. I am now coming to you to basically fight you and force you to not do what it is you are doing. No, that's not the fight I'm talking about. So the fight that I'm sharing with you guys here, it's this. Let's say this is my vehicle. My body is my vehicle. This is my car. I love this car. I'll treat this car to the best of my ability, the way that I choose to treat this car. But let's say now I pick up a passenger along the way, and that passenger now comes into the front seat, and while I'm steering the wheel of this car, while I'm driving the car, they now want to reach over and hold the steering wheel and drive the car for me. They now want to take control of my vehicle. This is where you need to stand up for yourself. This is where you need to fight back. And the fight, I'm using the word fight yet again, but it simply means force, because the fight is the force. The fight also is to stand firm in your boundaries. These boundaries to not cross. So in how you relay that to that individual, they can understand that this is a boundary that you are not to cross. So let's say this individual is very assertive, very aggressive, and they are demanding, no, I want to drive your vehicle. Because you don't want to fight, or because you don't want the conflict, you're now afraid to put them out of your car. No. And this is where the force and the fight comes into play. Get out of my car. Raw, hardcore, truth. Because you're in my car. And I'm in the driver's seat. I am in the driver's seat of my car. That is how you understand. This is how to create a healthy balance between knowing, respect, and flow. Respect. There are different levels to the divine, the source, intelligence, celestial being, ancestors, and higher self. Different circumstances and situations, the divine helps you understand what you need to do. Okay? So, what are you saying? What is the question? Because to me, it seems like you already have your interpretation of the divine, which is okay. But are you here to learn, or are you here to basically tell me what your interpretation of the divine is? And if you are telling me what your interpretation of the divine is, then it seems that there's nothing for you to learn here. Okay. Understood. So I stand corrected. So, moving forward, in terms of this discussion, this podcast here, I am grateful for you being here, my friend. Thank you for sitting through this entire life. I also hope that you gain some deeper insights in some way, form, or fashion. In terms of understanding some of the key factors that I shared was, in terms of speaking up for yourself, venting, and also making sure that you're not just suppressing your truth because of the mere fact that you don't want to conflict, you don't want that conflict. This is the main part of it, reason being the title, it's also in the title. The mind replays what it is that the heart wants to heal. And the only how you can truly heal the heart is when you speak from your heart, regardless of what others think about that speech, what you are saying. This is what I do, and this is how I allow myself to flow into wholeness and be who I am. So, thank you for being here. I scheduled this for an hour. I have like about 4 minutes here again. But I've said a lot, so I'll just end it with one more little gem, Andrew, before I go. And hopefully, this last gem here, hey, whatever the universe wants to come out right now, is needed to come out. So, first thing comes into play here for me. It's a rubber band. So I have a woogie in front of me here, not a rubber band, right? And I'll use this last example here. Picture life as a rubber band or woogie. And this woogie, this rubber band, this is you as a being. And within this being, a lot of people are like this, just fixed. But the fixed reality in itself is all an illusion, because sometimes in this circle, in this band, there may be things that you may not want in the band, but need to understand how to flex the band. Need to understand that the band can change multiple different forms. That's your energy. That's who you are. You are a being with a rubber band like capabilities. So the flex of the band can flex in any direction, in any flow. But all of that is the capabilities of your soul. Thank you. All of that is the capabilities of your soul. And that for me there is a beautiful way to end this show. So thank you for being here. Ultra Concepts, everybody else who was here. African, Persian, Oscar, Sanchez, everyone who was here throughout this live. A lot was said, a lot of truths were also said, and I take my leave here. Thank you for being here yet again. Gratitude and appreciation for everyone who sat through this entire life, because your time is valuable. So the mere fact that you took time out of your life to be here with me, I am grateful for that, and you are appreciated. One love, peace, love, and harmony to you all. I'm out until tomorrow.